Hello and welcome to the first part of a second look exploring session with Beyond Shakespeare. This is the lovely room we have today, and we are preparing a second look of, well, not preparing, we haven't prepared, we just read it, maybe sometimes. We were preparing a second look of Magnificence for you, which by Skelton. I don't know anything about this. So if anyone else knows anything more, please do not hesitate to shout. But I will go now to our wonderful readers who will be joining me in this session. We have reading Conveyance today.
That's me, Alan from Suffolk.
Reading Measure, we have
Rachel.
Reading Fancy, we have
Hi, I'm Lynn. I'm in the Northwest United States.
reading Felicity, Collusion, and yeah, no one else for today. We have
Right, Lois in London.
and reading Liberty, Countenance. I think it's Sad Countenance or Crafty Countenance. I don't know. These characters have additional names. Okay. Liberty, Countenance, and Abusion. We have
Greg, that's Courtly Countenance. No, it's all right. I've forgotten my own characters now.
it's detailed.
Counterfeit Countenance and Courtly Abusion.
Okay. Yes.
And I've been with this team far too long because I read this 3 years ago. Different characters. Looking forward to seeing how this comes out.
And of course, reading the title character, Magnificence, we have, drumroll please.
Aliki, currently in Northwest England.
No pressure. And I'm your host for today, Eric Karoulla, and I will try to keep things going and make sure that they keep reading basically. So without further ado, Felicity, take it away.
Right. All things contrived by man's reason, the world environed of high and low estate. Be it early or late, wealth has a season. Wealth is of wisdom the very true probate. A fool is he with wealth that falleth at debate. But men nowadays so unhappily be lured that nothing than wealth may worse be endured. To tell you the cause, me seemeth it no need. The amends thereof is far to call again. For when men buy wealth, they have little dread of that may come after. Experience true and plain how, after a drought, there falleth a shower of rain, and after a heat oft cometh a stormy cold. A man may have wealth, but not as he would, aye to continue, and still to endure. But if prudence be proved with sad circumspection, wealth might be won and made to the lure, if nobleness were acquainted with sober direction. But will hath reason so under subjection, and so disordereth this world over all, that wealth and felicity is passing small. But where wounds wealth, as an a man would weet, for wealthful felicity truly is my name.
Marry, wealth and I was appointed to meet, and either I am deceived or ye be the same.
Sir, as ye say, I have heard of your fame. Your name is Liberty, as I understand.
True you say, sir. Give me your hand.
And from whence come ye, and it might be asked?
Oh, to tell you, sir, I dare not, lest I should be masked in a pair of fetters or a pair of stocks.
Now, hear you not how this gentleman mocks?
Yea, to necking earnest, what on it prove?
Why, to say what he will, Liberty hath leave.
Yet Liberty hath been locked up and kept in the mew.
Indeed, sir, that Liberty was not worth a cue. Howbeit Liberty may sometimes be too large, but if reason be regent and ruler of your barge.
So that ye say I can well condescend. Show forth, I pray you, heaven, what you intend.
Of that I intend to make demonstration. It asketh leisure with good advertisement. First, I say, we ought to have in consideration that liberty be linked with the chain of continence, liberty to let from all manner of offence, for liberty at large is loath to be stopped, but with continence your courage must be cropped.
Then thus to you...
Nay, suffer me fiat further to say, and peradventure I shall content your mind. Liberty, I wot well, forbear no man there may. It is so sweet in all manner of kind. Howbeit, liberty maketh many a man blind. By liberty is done many a great excess. Liberty at large will oft wax reckless. Perceive ye this parcel?
Yea, sir, passing well. But an you would me permit to show part of my wit, somewhat I could infer your conceit to debar, under supportation of patient toleration.
God forbid ye should be let your reasons forth to set. Wherefore, at liberty, say what you will to me.
Briefly, to touch of my purpose the effect, liberty is laudable and privileged from law, judicial rigour shall me not correct.
Soft, my friend, herein your reason is but raw.
And I yet suffer me to say the surplus of my saw. What ye whereupon I will conclude? I say there is no wealth, whereas liberty is subdued. I trow you cannot say much to this. To live under law, it is captivity. Where dread leadeth the dance, there is no joy nor bliss. Or how can ye prove that there is felicity? And you have but not your own free liberty to sport at your pleasure, to run and to ride. Where liberty is absent, set wealth aside.
Christ, you assist in your altercation.
Why, have you heard of our disputation?
I perceive well how each of you doth reason.
Oh, master measure, you be come in good season.
And it is wonder that your wild insolence can be content with measure's presence.
Would it please ye then?
Us to inform and ken.
Aye, ye be wondrous men, your language is like the pen of him that writeth too fast.
Sir, if any word have passed me either first or last, to you I arret it, and cast thereof the reformation.
And I, the same fashion. Howbeit by protestation, displeasure that you none take, some reason we must make.
That will not I forsake, so it in measure be. Come off, therefore, let's see. Shall I begin, or ye?
Nay, ye shall begin by my will.
It is reason and skill we your pleasure fulfill.
Then ye must both consent, you to hold content with my argument, and I must you require me patiently to hear.
Yes, sir, with right good cheer.
With all my heart entire.
Horatius to record in his volumes old, with every condition measure must be sought. Wealth without measure would bear himself too bold. Liberty without measure prove a thing of naught. I ponder by number, by measure all thing is wrought. As at the first original, by godly opinion, which proveth well that measure should have dominion. Where measure is master, plenty doth none offence. Where measure lacketh, all thing disordered is. Where measure is absent, riot keepeth residence. Where measure is ruler, there is nothing amiss. Measure is treasure. How say ye? Is it not this?
Yes, questionless, in mine opinion, measure is worthy to have dominion.
Unto that same I am right well agreed, so that liberty be not left behind.
Yea, liberty with measure need never dread.
What, liberty to measure, then would ye bind?
What else? For otherwise it were against kind. Liberty should leap and run where he list. It were no virtue. It were a thing unblessed. It were a mischief if liberty lacked a rein, wherewith to rule him with the writhing of arrest, all trebles and tenors be ruled by a mean. Liberty without measure is accounted for a beast. There is no surfeit where measure ruleth the feast. There is no excess where measure hath his health. Measure continueth prosperity and wealth.
Unto your rule I will annex my mind.
So would I, but I would be loath that one was to be foremost, now to come behind. It were a shame to God I make an oath, without I might cut it out of the broad cloth, as I was wont ever at my free will.
But have ye not heard say that will has no skill? Take sad direction, and leave this wantonness.
It is no mastery.
Hush, let measure proceed, and after his mind hardly yourself address. For without measure, poverty and need will creep upon us, and us to mischief lead. For mischief will master us, if measure us forsake.
Well, I am content your ways to take.
Surely I am joyous that ye be minded thus. Magnificence to maintain, your promotion shall be.
So in his heart he may be glad of us.
There is no prince, but he has need of us three, wealth with measure and pleasant liberty.
Now pleaseth you a little while to stand. Meseemeth magnificence is coming here at hand.
To assure you of my noble port and fame, who list to know magnificence I height. But measure, my friend, what height this man's name?
Sir, though ye be noble prince of might, yet in this man you must see your delight, set your delight. And sir, this other man's name is Liberty.
Welcome, friends, ye are both unto me. But now, let me know of your conversation.
Pleaseth your grace, Felicity they me call.
And I am liberty made of in every nation.
Convenient persons for any prince royal. Wealth with liberty, with me both dwell ye shall. To the guiding of my measure, you both committing, that measure be master, as us seemeth it is sitting.
Whereas ye have, sir, to me them assigned, such order I trust with them for to take, that wealth with measure shall be combined, and liberty his large with measure shall make.
Your ordinance, sir, I will not forsake.
And I myself wholly to you will incline.
Then may I say that ye be servants mine. For by measure, I warn you, we think to be guided, wherein it is necessary, my pleasure you know, measure and I will never be divided. For no discord that any man can sow, for measure is a mean, neither too high nor too low, in whose attemperance I have such delight, that measure shall never depart from my sight.
Laudable your conceit is to be accounted, for wealth without measure suddenly will slide.
Your graceful nobly hath recounted, measure with nobleness should be allied.
Then liberty, see that measure be your guide, for I will use you by this advisement.
Then shall you have with you prosperity resident.
I trow good fortune hath annexed us together, to see how agreeable we are of one mind. There is no flatterer, nor losel, no slither, this linked chain of love that can unbind. Now that ye have me chief ruler assigned, I will endeavor to order everything, your nobleness and honor concerning.
In joy and mirth your mind shall be enlarged and not embraced with pusillanimity. But plainly all thought from you must be discharged, if ye list to live after your free liberty. Or delectations acquainted is with me, by me or persons work what they list.
Hem, sir, yet beware of had I wist. Liberty in some cause becometh a gentle mind, but by cause course of measure, if I be in the way, who counteth without me is cast too far behind of his reckoning, as evidently we may see at our eye the world day by day, for default of measure, all thing doth exceed.
All that ye say is as true as the creed. For howbeit liberty to wealth is convenient, and from felicity may not be forborne, yet measure hath been so long from us absent, that all men laugh at liberty to scorn. Wealth and wit, I say, be so threadbare worn, that all is without measure, and far beyond the moon.
Then nobleness, I see well, is almost undone. But if thereof the sooner amends be made, for doubtless I perceive my magnificence without measure lightly may fade, of too much liberty under the offence, wherefore measure, take liberty with you hence, and rule him after the rule of your school.
What, sir? Would you make me a popping fool?
Why, were not you yourself agreed to the same? And now would ye swerve from your own ordinance?
I would be ruled, and I might for shame.
You make me laugh at your inconstancy.
Sir, without any longer dalliance, take liberty to rule and follow mine intent.
It shall be done at your commandment.
It is a wanton thing, this liberty. Perceive you not how loath he was to abide the rule of measure, notwithstanding we have deputed measure him to guide? By measure each thing duly is tried. Think you not thus, my friend Felicity?
Oh, God forbid that it otherwise should be.
Yet could not else, I wot, with me endure.
Endure, no, God wot it were great pain. But if I were ordered by just measure, it were not possible me long to retain.
Hush, hold your peace, your language is vain. Please it your grace to take no disdain, to show you plainly the truth as I think.
Here is none forceth whether you float or sink.
From whence come you, sir, that no man looked after?
Or who made you so bold to interrupt my tale?
Now, benedicite, you ween I were some after, or else some jangling jack of the veil. You ween that I am drunken because I look pale.
Me seemeth that ye have drunken more than ye have bled.
Yet among noblemen was I brought up and bred.
Now leave this jangling, and to us expound why that ye said our language was in vain.
Marry, upon truth my reason I ground, that without largesse, nobleness cannot reign. And that I said once, yet I say again, that without largesse, worship hath no place, for largesse is a purchaser of pardon and grace.
Now I beseech thee, tell me, what is thy name?
Largesse, that all lords should love, sir, I hight.
But hight you largesse, increase of noble fame?
Yes, sir, undoubted.
Then, of very right, with magnificence, this noble prince of might should be your dwelling, in my consideration.
Yet we will therein take good deliberation.
As in that I will not be against your pleasure.
Sir, hardly remember what may your name advance.
Largesse is laudable, so it be in measure.
Largesse is he that all princes doth advance. I report me herein to King Louis of France.
Why have ye him named, and all other refused?
For sith he died, largesse was little used. Pluck up your mind, sir, what ail you to muse? Have ye not wealth here at your will? It is but a madding, these ways that ye use. What availeth lordship, yourself for to kill? With care and with thought, how Jack shall have Jill.
What? I have espied ye are a careless page.
By God, sir, ye see but few wise men of my age. But covetise hath blown you so full of wind that colica passio hath groped you by the guts.
In faith, brother largesse, you have a merry mind.
In faith, I set not by the world of two Doncaster cuts.
Ye want but a wild flying bolt to shoot at the butts. Though large as ye height, your language is too large. For which end goeth forward, ye take little charge.
Let's see this check if ye void can.
In faith, else I had gone too long to school, but I could know a goose from a swan.
Well, wise men may eat the fish when ye shall draw the pool.
In faith, I will not say that ye shall prove a fool, but ofttimes I have seen wise men do mad deeds.
Go shake the dog. Hey, Sith you will needs, you are nothing meet with us for to dwell, that with your lord and master so pertly can prate. Get you hence, I say. But my counsel, I will not use you to play with me checkmate.
Sir, if I have offended your noble estate, I trow I have brought you such writing of record that I shall have you again, my good lord. To you recommendeth sad circumspection, and sendeth you this writing closed under seal.
This writing is welcome with hearty affection. Why kept you it thus long? How doth he? Well?
Sir, thanks be God, he hath his heel.
Well, get you home, and command me to measure. Bid him take good heed to you, my singular treasure.
Is there anything else your grace will command me?
Nothing but fare you well till soon, and that he take good keep to liberty.
Your pleasure, sir, shortly shall be done.
I shall come to you myself, I trow, this afternoon. I pray you, largesse, here to remain whilst I know what this letter doth contain.
What? Fancy! Fancy!
Who is that thus did cry? Methought he called Fancy.
It was a Fleming, hight Hancy.
Methought he called Fancy. Me behind?
Nay, sir, it was nothing but your mind. But now, sir, as touching this letter.
I shall look at it in a leisure better, and surely you are to him behold, and for his sake, right gladly I would do what I could do to do you any good.
I pray God keep you in that mood.
This letter was written far hence.
By Lakin, sir, it hath cost me a pence, and groats many one, ere I came to your presence.
Where was it delivered you? Show unto me.
By God, sir, beyond the sea.
What place, now, as you guess?
By my troth, sir, at Puntes. Oh, this writing was taken me there, but never was I in greater fear.
How so?
By God, at the seaside, had I not opened my purse wide, I trow, by Our Lady, I had been slain, or else I had lost mine ears twain.
By your sooth?
Yea, there is such a watch that no man can escape but they him catch. They bear me in hand that I was a spy, and another bade put out mine eye. Another would mine eye have bleared, another bade shave half my beard. The boys to pillory gan me pluck, and would have made me Friar Tuck to preach out of the pillory hole without an tentheme or a stole. And some bade sear him with a mark. To get me fro them, I had much work.
Marry, sir, you were afraid.
By my troth, had I not paid and prayed, and made largesse, as I hight, I had not been here with you this night. But surely largesse saved my life, for largesse stinteth all manner of strife.
It doth so, sure, now and then, but largesse is not meet for every man.
No, but for you great estates, largesse stinteth great debates. And he that I came fro to this place said that I was meet for your grace. And indeed, sir, I hear men talk by the way, as I ride and walk, say how you exceed in nobleness, if you had with you largesse.
And say they so, in very deed.
Yea, sir, so God's me speed.
Yet measure is a merry mean.
Yea, sir, a blanched almond is no bean. Measure is meet for a merchant's hall, but largesse becometh a state royal. What should you pinch at a peck of oats? You would soon pinch. Oh, thus is the talking of one and of other, as men dare speak, it hugger mugger. A lord, a niggard, it is a shame, but largesse may amend your name.
In faith, largesse, welcome to me.
I pray you, sir, I may so be, and of my service you shall not miss.
Together we will talk more of this. Let us depart from hence home to my place.
I follow even after your noble grace.
What? I say, hark a word.
Do away, I say, the devil's turd.
Yea, but how long shall I have it here? Wait.
By God's body, I come straight. I hate this blundering thou dost make.
Now to the devil I thee betake, for in faith ye be well met. Fancy have catched a fly net, this noble magnificence of largesse under the pretence. They have made me here to put the stone, but now will I, that they be gone, in bastard rhyme after doggerel guise, tell you whereof my name doth arise. For counterfeit countenance known am I. This world is full of my folly. I set not by him a fly that cannot counterfeit a lie. Swear and stare and bide thereby, and countenance it cleanly and defend it malady. Oh, a knave will counterfeit now a knight, a lurden like a lord to fight, a minstrel like a man of might, a tapster like a lady bright. This does make I them with thrift to fight. Thus at the last I bring him right to Tyburn, where they hang on height. The counterfeit I can by pretty ways of knights to occupy counterfeit keys, cleanly to counterfeit new arrays, counterfeit earnest by way of plays. Thus am I occupied at all essays. Whatsoever I do, men me praise, and mickle am I made of nowadays. Counterfeit manners in the law of the land, with gold and groats they grease my hand. Instead of right that wrong may stand, and counterfeit freedom that is bound. I counterfeit sugar that is not found, counterfeit captains by me unmanned, of all lewdness I kindle the brand, sorry. Counterfeit kindness and think deceit, counterfeit letters by the way of slight, subtly use counterfeit weight, counterfeit language, fake bungay. Counterfeit is a proper bait, a counterfeit is in a receipt, to counterfeit well is a good conceit. Counterfeit maidenhood may well be born, but counterfeit coins is laughing to scorn. It is evil patching of all that is torn. When the nap is rough, it would be shorn. Counterfeit halting without a thorn. Yet counterfeit chaffer is but evil corn. All thing is worse when it is worn. What? Would ye wives counterfeit the courtly gay? Yeah. What? Would ye wives counterfeit the courtly guise of the new jet? An old barn would be underset. It is much worse that is far-fetched. What? Wanton, now were ye met? What? Marjorie, milk duck, marmoset? It will be masked in my net. It would be nice, though I say nay. By creed it would have fresh array, and therefore shall my husband pay. The counterfeit she would assail new guise, fresh and gay, and be as pretty as she may. Yet jolly as a jay. Counterfeit preaching, believe the continent. Counterfeit conscience, peevish pony. Oh, counterfeit sadness with dealing full madly. Counterfeit holiness is called hypocrisy. Counterfeit reason is not worth a fly. Counterfeit wisdom that works a folly. Counterfeit countenance every man doth occupy. Counterfeit worship outward men may see. Riches rideth out, at home is poverty. Counterfeit pleasure is borne out by me. Coal will go cleanly, and it will not be. And I not what be nice and laugh. Your counterfeit countenance is all of nicety, a plumed partridge all ready to fly. The knucklebone yard will counterfeit a clerk. He will trot gently when he used to stark, and his cloaked counterfeiting dogs doth bark. A carter, a courtier, if it Carter, a courtier it is worthy walk, that with his whip his mares was wont to vark. The custrel to drive the devil out of the dark, a counterfeit courtier with the knaves marked. To counterfeit those friars have learned me, those nuns now and then, and it might be would take in the way of counterfeit charity. The grace of God and a benedicite, to counterfeit their counsel they give me a fee. Canons cannot counterfeit but upon three. Monks may not for dread that men should them see.
What? Counterfeit countenance?
What crafty conveyance?
What the devil are you two of acquaintance? God give you a very mischance.
Yes, sir, he and I have met.
We've been together both early and late. But fancy, my friend, where have you been so long?
By God, I have been about a pretty prong, crafty conveyance, I should say, and I.
My God, we've made Magnificence Street a fly.
How could you do that, and I was away?
By God, man, both his pageant and thine he can play.
Say truth!
Yes, my Lakin, I shall thee warrant. As long as I live, thou hast an heir apparent.
Yet have we picked out a room for thee.
Why, shall we dwell together all three?
Why, man, it were too great a wonder that we three gallants should be long asunder.
For cock's heart, give me thy hand.
By the mass, for ye are able to destroy an whole land.
By God, yet it must begin much of thee.
Who that is ruled by us, it shall be long ere he tay.
But I say, keepest thou the old name that thou still had?
Why, weenest thou, whoreson, that I was so mad?
Nay, he hath changed his, and I have changed mine.
Now, what is his name, or what is thine?
In faith, largesse I height, and I am made a knight.
A rebellion against nature, so large a man and so little of stature. But, sir, how counterfeited ye?
Sure Surveyance, I named me.
Surveyance? Oh, well, ye survey, thrift hath lost her coffer key.
But is it not well? How thinkest thou?
Yes, sir, I will give God a vow, myself could not counterfeit it better. What became of the letter that I counterfeited you underneath a shroud?
By the mass, oddly well allowed.
By God, had I not it conveyed, fancy had been deceived.
I wot thou art false enough for one.
By my troth, we had been gone, and yet, in faith, man, we lacked thee, for to speak with liberty.
What is largesse without liberty?
By measure mastered yet is he.
What is your conveyance? No better.
In faith, measure is like a tetter. In faith, measure is like a tetter that overgroweth a man's face, so he ruleth all over our place.
Now, therefore, whilst we are together, counterfeit countenance, nay, come hither. I say, whilst we are together in same.
Such a straw, it is a shame that we could know better than so.
We will remedy it, man, ere we go, for like as mustard is sharp of taste, right so sharp fancy must be found, wherewith measure to confound.
Can you remedy for a physic that shows yourself thus a sped in physic?
It is a gentle reason of a rake.
For all these japes yet that ye make,
Your fancy maketh mine elbow to ache.
let's see, find you a better way.
Take no displeasure of what we say.
Nay, and you be angry and overthwart. A man may be shrew your angry heart.
Hush, a straw, I thought none ill.
What, shall we jangle thus all the day still?
Nay, let our heads together cast.
Yea, and see, how it may be compassed, that measure were cast out of doors.
Oh, alas, where is my boots or my spurs?
In all this haste, whither will you ride?
I trow it shall not need to abide. Cock's wound, cease, cease.
Cock's arms? What is he?
By Cock's heart he looketh high, he hawketh methink for a butterfly.
Now my cock's heart well abidden, for had you not come, I had ridden. The music.
You are muted.
Oh,
Yeah. Thy words be but wind, never they have no weight. Thou hast made me play thee your hate.
and if ye know how I have mused, I am sure you would have me excused.
I say, come hither. What are these twain?
By God, sir, this is fancy, small brain, and crafty conveyance. Know ye not him?
Know him, sir? Yeah, quoth he. Yes, by Saint Sim, here is a leash of ratchets to run a hare. Woe is that purse that ye shall share.
What call ye him this?
I trow what he is.
Sir, I showed you a piece. See you not how they press for to know your name?
Know they not me, they are to blame. Know ye not me, sirs?
No, indeed.
Abide. Let me see. Take better heed. Cock's heart, it's cloaked collusion.
Aye, sir, I pray God give you confusion.
Cock's arms, is that your name?
Yea, by the mass, this is even the same, that all this matter must undergrope.
What is it he weareth? A cope?
Cap, sir? I say you be too bold.
See how he is wrapped for the cold. Is it not a vestment?
Ye want a rope.
Tush! It is Sir John Double Cloak.
Sir, and if you would not be wroth,
What sayest?
here was too little cloth.
Fancy, fancy, God send thee brain.
Yea, for your wit is cloaked for the rain.
Nay, let us not chatter thus still.
Tell me, sirs, what is your will?
Sir, it is so that these twain with magnificence in household to remain, and there they would have me to dwell, but I would be ruling after your counsel.
So will we also.
But tell me, whereabout ye go?
By God, we would get us all thither, spare the remnant, and do together.
Hath Magnificence any treasure?
Yeah, but he spendeth it all in measure.
Why dwelleth measure where ye two dwell? In faith, he were better to dwell in hell.
Yet where we won, now there wanteth he.
And have ye not among you liberty?
Yea, but he is in captivity.
What the devil, how may that be?
I cannot tell you. Why ask you me? Ask these two that there doth dwell.
Sir, the plainness you me tell?
There dwelleth a master man called Measure.
Yea, and he hath the rule of all his treasure.
Nay, either let me tell, or else tell ye.
I care not, I. Tell on for me.
I pray God let you never to thee.
Oh, what the devil aileth you? Can you not agree?
I will pass over the circumstance, and shortly show you the whole substance. Fancy and I, we twain, with magnificence in household do remain, and counterfeited our names we have, craftily, all things upright to save. His name, Largesse, surveillance mine, magnificence to us beginneth to incline, counterfeit countenance to have also, and would that we should for him go.
But I shall have mine own name still.
Peace, I've not yet said what I will.
Here is a pistol of apostic.
Tush, faunish fancy, thou art frantic. Tell on, sir, how then?
Marry, sir, he told us when we had him found, we should him bring, and that we failed not for nothing.
All this ye may easily bring about.
Marry the better and measure were out.
Why, can ye not put out that foul freak?
No, in every corner he will peek, so that we have no liberty, nor no man in court but he. For liberty he hath in guiding.
In faith, and without liberty there is no binding.
In faith, and liberty's room is there but small.
That like I nothing at all.
But counterfeit countenance, go we together, all three, I say.
Shall I go? Whither?
To Magnificence with us twain, and it is service thee to retain.
But then, sir, what shall I hide?
Ye and I talked thereof tonight.
Yea, my fancy was out of owl flight, for it is out of my mind quite.
And now it comes to my remembrance. Sir, ye shall hide good demeanance.
By the arms of Calais well conceived.
When we have him thither conveyed, what and I frame such a sleight, that fancy with his fond conceit put Magnificence in such a madness, that he shall have you in the stead of sadness, and sober sadness shall be your name.
By cock's body, here beginneth the game, for then shall we so craftily carry.
For cock's heart, tarry whilst I come again.
We will see you shortly, one of us twain.
Now let us go, and we shall then.
Now let's see, quit you like pretty men. To pass the time in order, while a man may talk of one thing and another to occupy the place, then for the season that I here shall walk, as good be occupied as up and down to trace and do nothing. Howbeit, full little grace there cometh and groweth of my coming, for cloaked collusion is a perilous thing. Double dealing and I be all one. Crafting and hafting contrived is by me. I can dissemble, I can both laugh and groan. Plain dealing and I can never agree. But division, dissension, derision, these three and I am counterfeit of one mind and thought, by the means of mischief to bring all things to naught. And though I be so odious a guest, as every man gladly my company would refuse, in faith yet am I occupied with the best, full few that can themselves of me excuse. When other men laugh, then study I and muse, devising the means and ways that I can, how I may hurt and hinder every man. 2 faces in a hood covertly I bear, water in the one hand and fire in the other. I can feed forth a fool and lead him by the ear. Falsehood in fellowship is my sworn brother. By cloaked collusion, I say, and none other, cumbrance and trouble in England first began. From that lord to that lord I rode and I ran, and flattered them with fables fair before their face, and told all the mischief I could behind their back, and made as I know nothing of the case. I would begin all mischief, but I would bear no lack. Thus can I learn you, sirs, to bear the devil's sack. And yet, I trow some of you be better sped than I. False friendship to feign, and think full litherly. Paint to a purpose good countenance I can, and craftily can I grope how every man is minded. My purpose is to spy and to point every man. My tongue is with favil forked and tined. By cloaked collusion thus many one is beguiled. Each man to hinder I gape and I gasp. My speech is all pleasure, but I sting like a wasp. I'm never glad but when I may do ill, and never am I sorry but when that I see I cannot my appetite accomplish and fulfill in hindrance of wealth and prosperity. I laugh at all shrewdness and lie at liberty. I muster, I meddle. Among these great estates I sow seditious seeds of discord and debates. To flatter and to fleer is all my pretence, among all such persons as I well understand be light of belief and hasty of credence. I make them to startle and sparkle like a brand. I move them, I maze them, I make them so fond that they will hear no man but the first tale. And so by these means I brew much bale.
Afar, afar, tadarum, ten, afar.
This was properly prated, sirs. What said it?
Johnny Vatican,
Du que pays êtes-vous?
Oh, deck your hofting, cover a loose.
Vous chantez votre danse?
Witter, says the man, am I not a Johnny Rutter?
Oh, give this gentleman room, sirs. Stand utter. My God, sir, what need all this waste? What is this? A beetle or a battle or a buskin laced?
What meanest thou that I know thee not, cloaking collusion?
And weenest thou that I know not thee, cankered Abusion?
Oh, cankered Jack Hare, thou look thou be not rusty, for thou shalt well know I am neither dirty nor dusty.
Dusty? Nay, sir, ye be all of the lusty. Howbeit of scape-thrift your cloak smelleth musty. But whither art thou walking, in faith unfeigned?
Oh, marry, with magnificence I would be retained.
By the mass, for the court thou art a meet man. Thy slippers, they swap it, yet thou footest it like a swan.
Yea, so can I devise my gear after the courtly manner.
So thou art personable to bear a prince's banner. By God's foot, and I dare well fight, for I will not start.
Nay, thou art a man good enough, but for thy false heart.
Well, and I be a coward, there is more than I.
Yea, in faith, a bold man and a hardy.
A bold man in a bowl of new ale in corns.
Will ye see this gentleman is all in his scorn?
But are ye not advised to dwell where ye spake?
I am all for a few words, I love not to bark. Bearest thou any room, or canst thou do aught? Canst thou hap in favour that I might be brought?
I may do somewhat, and more I think shall.
What's heart, who is yonder that for thee doth call?
They come at once for the arms of the dice.
Oh, cock's arms, ye have called for thee twice.
By cock's heart, and call shall again. To come to me, I trow, he shall be fain.
What is thy heart pricked with such a proud pin?
Tush, he that hath need, man, let him run.
Nay, come away, man, thou playest the Kaiser.
By the mass, thou shalt bide my leisure.
Abide, sir, quod he? Marry, so I do.
He will come, man, when he may tend to.
The devil, who sent for thee?
Here he is now, man, mayest thou not see?
What the devil, man, what thou meanest? Art thou so angry as thou seemest?
What the devil, can ye agree no better?
What the devil? Where had we this jolly jetter?
What sayest thou, man? Why dost thou not supply and desire me thy good master to be?
Speakest thou to me?
Yea, so I tell thee.
Oh, cocked bones, I nay tell can which of you is the better man, of which you can do most.
Faith, I rule much of the roost.
Rule the roost? Yea, thou wouldest, scant thou had no need of me.
Need? Yes, marry, I say not nay.
Oh, cock's heart, I trow thou wilt make a fray.
Nay, in good faith, it is but the guise.
No, for ere we strike, we'll be advised twice.
Oh, what the devil, use you not to draw no swords?
No, by my troth, but great words.
Why is this the guise nowadays?
Yea, for surety oft peace is taken for phrase. But, sir, I will have this man with me.
Convey yourself first, let's see.
Well, tarry here till I for you send.
Why, shall he be of your band?
Tarry here, wot you what I say?
I warrant you, I will not go away.
By St. Mary, he is a tall man.
Yea, and do right good service he can. I know in him no default, but that the whoreson is proud and hot.
Nay, purchase ye a pardon for the pose, for pride hath plucked thee by the nose. As well as me I would and I durst, but now I will not say the worst. What now? Let's see you looketh on me while round about. How gay and how stout that I can wear courtly my gear. My hair brusheth so pleasantly, my robe brusheth so ruttingly. Me see my fly, I am so light to dance delight, properly dressed. Or put device my person pressed beyond all size, the new guise to rush it out in every rout. Beyond measure my sleeve is wide, all of pleasure my horse straight tied. My buskin wide, rich to behold, glittering in gold, Abusion. Forsooth I hide, confusion shall on him light by day or by night that useth me. He cannot thee. The very fond, the very ass will take upon to compass that never was abused before. A very poor that will so will do. He doth abuse himself him too. He doth misuse each man, take a fee to creak and prate. I befoul his pate. This new fond jet from out of France first I did set, made purveyance and such ordinance that all men it found throughout England. All this nation I set on fire in my fashion, that this their desire, this new attire, this ladies have, it them gave, spare for no cost, yet indeed it is cost lost, much more than need, for to exceed in such array. Howbeit, I say, a girl's son brought up of naught with me will one, whilst he hath aught, he will have wrought his gown so wide that he may hide his damned sire within his sleeve, spending all this hire that men him give. Wherefore I grieve, a Tyburn check shall break his neck.
Stow!
All is out of hair and out of truth. I war and war in every place.
Stow!
What the devil art thou that cries, Stow!
What? Whom have we here, Jenkin Jolly? Now welcome, by God the Holy.
What fancy, my friend, how dost thou fare?
By Christ, as merry as a March hare.
What the devil hast thou on thy fist now?
Nay, it is a fairly foul.
Methinks she frowneth and looks sour.
Heard, man, it is the hawk of the tower. She is made for the mallard fat.
Methinks she is well beat to catch a rat. Well, now, what tidings can you tell? Let's see.
Marry, I come for thee.
For me?
Yea, for thee, so I say.
Is so. Tell me, I thee pray.
Why, heard you not of the fray that fell among us this day?
No, marry, not yet.
What the devil, never a whit?
No, by the mass, what should I swear?
In faith, liberty is now a lusty peer.
Why, and to whom was he abiding?
Marry, measure had him a while in guiding, till, as the devil would, they fell a chiding with crafty conveyance.
Oh, yea, did they so?
By God's sacrament, and with other no.
What needed that in the devil? Sorry. What needed that in the devil's date?
Yes, he fell with me also at debate.
Well, with thee also. Why, he playeth the state.
Yea, but I bade him pike out of the gate by God's body, so did I.
By the mass, well done and boldly.
Hold thy peace, measure shall from us walk.
Why, is he crossed then with a chalk?
Crossed, yea, checked out of conceit.
How so?
By God, by a pretty sleight, and hereafter thou shalt no more. But I must tarry here. Go thou before.
With whom shall I there meet?
Crafty conveyeth standeth in the street, even of purpose for the same.
Yea, but what shall I call my name?
Coxheart, turn thee, let me see thy array. Coxbones, this is all of John de Gay.
So I am pointed after my conceit.
Marry, thou jettest it of height.
Yea, but of my name let us be wise.
Marry, a lusty pleasure by mine advice to name thyself. Come off, it were done.
Farewell, my friend.
Adieu, till soon. Stow, bird, stow. It is best I feed my hawk now. There is many evil favored, and thou be foul. Each thing is fair when it is young. All hail owl. Lo, this is my fancy iwis. Now Christ is blessed. It is by Jess, a bird full sweet for me full meat. She is furred for the heat, all to the feet. Her brow is bent, her eyen glent. From Tyne to Trent, from Stroud to Kent, a man shall find many of her kind. How standeth the wind before or behind? Barbed like a nun for burning of the sun, her feathers done, well-favoured bun. Now let me see about, all in this rout, if I can find out so seemly a snout, among this press, even a whole mess. Peace, man, peace, I read we cease. It's so farly fair as it looks, her beak so comely crooks, her nails sharp as tenter hooks. I will not keep her yet 3 wooks. And now she still doth sit. To wit, where is my wit? The devil speed whit. That was before I set behind. Now too courteous forthwith, unkind. Sometime too sober, sometime too sad. Sometime too merry, sometime too mad. Sometime I sit as I were solemn, proud. Sometime I laugh over loud. Sometime I weep for a gewgaw. Sometimes I laugh at wagging of a straw. But with a pair my love you may win, and ye may less it for a pen. I have a thing to say, and I may tend thereto for play. But in faith I am so occupied on this half and every side, that I want not where I may rest, first to tell you what were best. Frantic fancy service I hight, my wits be weak, my brains are light, for it is I that other while pluck down lead and thatch with tile. Now I will this, now I will that, make a windmill of a mat. Now I would, and I wist what? Where's my cap? I've lost my hat. And within an hour after, pluck down a house and set up a rafter. Hither and thither I wot not whither, do and undo both together. Of a spindle I will make a spar, all that I make forthwith I mar. I blunder, I bluster, I blow, I blother. I make on the day and I mar on the other. Busy, busy, and ever busy, I dance up and down till I am dizzy. I can find fantasies where none is, and will not have it so, I will have it this.
Masters, Christ save every chun. What, fancy, art thou here alone?
What foolish folly, I befool thy face.
What, frantic fancy in a fool's case? What is this, an owl or a gleed? By my troth, she hath a great head.
Hush, thy lips hang in thine eye, it is a French butterfly.
By my troth, I trow well, but she is less a great deal than a butterfly of our land.
What pilled cur leadest thou in thy hand?
A pilled cur?
Yea, so I tell thee, a pilled cur.
Yet I sold his skin to Macamer in the stead of a budge fur.
What, flayest thou his skin every year?
Yes, in faith, I thank God I may hear.
What wilt thou? What? Thou wilt cough me a daw for 40 pence.
Marry, sir, Cockermouth is a good way hence.
What, of Cockermouth I spake no word?
By my faith, sir, the furbisher hath my sword.
Aye, trow ye shall cough me a fool.
In faith, truth you say, we went together to school.
Yea, but I can somewhat more of the letter.
I will not give a halfpenny for to choose the better.
But, brother Folly, I wonder much of one thing, that thou so high from me dost spring, and I so little always still.
By God, I can tell, and I will. Thou art so feeble fantastical, and so brain-sick therewithal, and thy wit wandering here and there, that thou canst not grow out of thy boy's gear. And as for me, I take but one foolish way, and therefore I grow more on one day than thou can in years 7.
In faith, truth thou sayest now by God of heaven. For so with fantasies my wit doth fleet, that wisdom and I shall seldom meet. Now, of good fellowship, let me buy thy dog.
What coxheart, thou liest, I am no hog.
Here is no man that called thee hog nor swine.
In faith, man, my brain is as good as thine.
The devil's turd for thy brain.
By my sire's soul, I feel no rein.
By the mass I hold thee mad.
Mary, I knew thee when thou wast a lad.
Cock's bones, heard ye ever such another?
Yea, a fool to tone and a fool to t'other.
Nay, but wottest thou what I do say?
Why, sayest thou that I was here yesterday?
Cock's arms, this is a work, I trow.
What, callest thou me a dunnish cow?
Now, in good faith, thou art a fond guest.
Yea, bear me this straw to a daw's nest.
What, winnest thou that I were so foolish and so fond?
In faith, yet is there none in all England.
Yet for my fancy's sake, I say, let me have thy dog, whatsoe'er I pay.
Thou shalt have my purse, and I will have thine.
By my troth, there is mine.
Now, by my troth, man, take, there is mine, and I beshrew him that hath the worse.
Heard, I say, what have I do? Here is nothing but a buckle of a shoe, and in my purse was 20 mark.
Hark, sirs, hark. For all that my name hight Folly, by the mass, yet art thou more fool than I.
Yet give me thy dog, and I am content, and thou shalt have my hawk to a botchment.
That ever thou thrive, God it forfend, for God's cope thou wilt spend. Now, take thou my dog, and give me thy fowl.
Hey, Chish, come hither.
Nay, turd, take him by time.
What callest thou thy dog?
Tush, his name is Grime.
Come, Grime, come, Grime. It is my pretty dog's.
In faith, there is not a better dog for hogs, not from Anik to Onge.
Yea, but trowest thou that he be not mangy?
No, by my troth, it is but the scurf and the scab.
What, he has been hurt with a stab?
Nay, in faith, it was but a stripe that the whoreson had for eating of a tripe.
Where the devil gat he all these hurts?
By God, for snatching of puddings and worts.
Why, then he is some good poor man's cur.
Yea, but he will in at every man's door.
Now thou hast done me a pleasure great.
In faith, I would thou hadst a marmoset.
Cock's heart, I love such japes.
Yea, for all thy mind is on owls and apes. But I have thy poultry, and thou hast my cattle.
Yea, but thrift, and we have made a battle.
Rememberest thou not the japes and the toys?
What, that we used when we were boys?
Yea, by the rood, even the same.
Yes, I am yet as full of game as ever I was, and as full of trifles. Nihilum nihil, Anglicae nifles.
What? Canst thou all this Latin yet, and hast so mazed a wandering wit?
Tush, man, I keep some Latin in store.
By Cock's heart, I ween thou hast no more.
No, yea, in faith, I can versify.
Then, I pray thee heartily, make a verse of my butterfly. Its forth is not of the reason, so it keep rhyme.
But wilt thou make another on grime?
Nay, in faith, first let me hear thine.
Mary, as for that, thou shalt sooner hear mine. Est snobby snoggo with a shrewd-faced villas imago.
Grimbaldus greedy, snatch a pudding till the roast be ready.
By the heart of God, well done.
Yea, so readily and so soon.
What, fancy? Let me see who is the other.
By God, Sir Folly, mine own sworn brother.
Coxbones, it is a Folly freak. Can he well play at the hoddy peak?
Tell by the troth what sport canst thou make?
Ah, hold thy peace, I have the toothache.
The toothache? Lower turd ye have.
Yea, thou hast the 4/4 of a knave.
What hast thou, I say, to whom thou speaks?
Nay, by coxarchy, nay, Rex, for he will speak to Magnificence thus.
Coxarm's a meet man for us.
What, would ye have more fools, and are so many?
Nay, offer him a counter instead of a penny.
Why, thinkest thou he can have no better skill?
In faith, I can make ye both fools, and I will.
What hast thee on thy fist? A kestrel?
Nay, wis fool, it is a dotterel.
In a coat thou can place well the disseur.
Yea, but thou canst play the fool without a visor.
How rode he by you? How put he you?
Marry, as thou sayest, he gave me a blur. But where got you that mangy cur?
Marry, it was his, and now it is mine.
And was it his, and now it is thine? Thou must have thy fancy and thy will, but yet thou shalt hold me a fool still.
Why, weenest thou that I cannot make thee play the phone?
Yes, by my faith, good Sir John.
For you both it were enough.
Why, weenest thou that I were as much a fool as thou?
Nay, nay, thou shalt find him another manner of man.
In faith, I can do masteries, so I can.
What, canst thou but play cock-what?
Yes, yes, he will make thee eat a gnat.
Yes, yes, by my troth, I hold thee a groat that I shall laugh thee out of thy coat.
Then will I say that hast no peer.
Now by the rood he will go near.
Fancy, regardez, voyez.
What hast thou found there?
By God, a louse.
Why, coxars, I trow thou liest.
By the mass, a Spanish moth with a grey list.
Coxarms, it is not so, I trow.
Put on thy gown again, for now thou hast lost.
Lo, John of Bottom, where is thy brain? Now put on, fool, thy coat again.
Give me thy groat, for thou hast lost. Shut thy purse door, and do no cost.
Now hast thou not a proud mock and a stark?
Yeah, by the rood of Woodstock Park.
Nay, I tell thee, he maketh no doubts to turn a fool out of his clouts.
And for a fool a man would him take.
Nay, it is I that fools can make, for be he Kaiser or be he king, to fellowship with Folly I can him bring.
Nay, wilt thou hear now of his schools, and what manner of people he maketh fools?
Yea, let us hear a word or twain.
Sir, of my manner I shall tell you the plain. First I lay before them my bauble, and teach them how they should sit idle, to pick their fingers all the day long. So in their ear I sing them a song, and make them so long to muse, that some of them runneth straight to the stews. In theft and bribery I make some fall, and pick a lock, and climb a wall, and where I spy a nissot gay, that will sit idle all the day, and cannot set herself to work, I kindle in her such a lither spark, that rubbed she must be on the gall, between the tappet and the wall.
What, whoreson, art thou such a one?
Nay, beyond all others, set him alone.
Hast thou any more? Let's see. Proceed.
Yea, by God, sir, for a need I have another manner of sort, that I laugh at for my disport, and those be they that come up of naught, as some be not far, and it were well sought. Such doors, whatsoever they be, that be set in authority, anon he waxeth so high and proud, he frowneth fiercely, brimly browed. The knave would make it coy, and he could. All that he doth must be allowed. And this is not well done, sir, take heed, and maketh him busy where is no need. He dances so long, hey, trolly-lolly, that every man laugheth at his folly.
By the good Lord, truth he saith.
Thinkest thou not so, by the faith?
Think I not so, quod he? Else have I shame, for I know divers that use the same.
But now, forsooth, man, it maketh no matter, For they that will so busily smatter, so help me God, man, ever at the length I make him lose much of their strength. For with folly so do I them lead, that wit he wanteth when he hath most need.
Forsooth, tell on, hast thou any mo?
Yes, I shall tell you ere I go of the divers mo that haunteth my schools.
All men beware of such fools.
There be two lither rude and rank, Simkin Titivel and Pierce Pickthank. These lithers I learn them for to lear what he saith and she saith, to lay a good ear, and tell to his sovereign every whit, and then he is much made of for his wit, and be the matter ill more or less, he will make it mickle worse than it is. But all that he doth, and if he reckon well, it is but folly every dell.
Are not his words cursedly couched?
By God, there be some be shrewdly touched. But I say, let's see, and if thou hast any more.
I have a whole armory of such haberdash in store, for there be others that folly doth use, that follow fond fancies and virtue refuse.
Nay, this is my part thou speakest now.
So is all the remnant, I make God avow, for thou formest such fantasies in their mind, that every man almost groweth out of kind.
By the mass, I'm glad that I came hither to hear you two rutters dispute together.
Nay, but fancy must be either first or last.
But when folly cometh, all is past.
I wot not whether it cometh of thee or me, but all is folly that I can see.
Marry, sir, you may swear it on a book.
Yea, turn over the leaf, read there, and look, how frantic fancy, first of all, maketh man and woman in folly to fall.
Ah, sir, how by that?
A perilous thing to cast a cat upon a naked man, and if she scrat.
So ho, I say, the hair is squat. For frantic fancy thou makest man mad, and I, folly, bringeth them to Keefui Gad, with Qui-fuit, brain sick, I have them brought from Qui-fuit aliquid to sheer shaking naught.
Well argued, and surely on both sides. But for thee, fancy, magnificence abides.
Why, shall I not have folly with me also?
Yes, buddy, man, whether that ye ride or go, for his name we must find a slight.
By the mass, he shall hide conceit.
Not a better name under the sun. With magnificence thou shalt be won.
God have mercy, good godfather.
Yet I would that he had gone rather, for as soon as ye come in, magnificent sight, all measure and good rule is gone quite.
And shall we have liberty to do what we will?
Riot at liberty rushes it out still.
Yea, but tell me one thing.
What is that?
Who is master of the mash vat?
Yea, for he hath a full dry soul.
Cock's arms, thou shalt keep the brewhouse bowl.
But may I drink thereof, whilst that I stare?
When measure is gone, what needest thou spare? When measure is gone, we may slay care.
Now then, go we hence, away the mare.
It is wonder to see the world about, to see what folly is used in every place. Folly hath a room, I say, in every rout, to put where he list. Folly hath free chase. Folly and fancy all wear, every man doth pace and brace. Folly footeth it properly, fancy leadeth the dance. And next come I after, Conveyance. Whoso to me giveth good adversance, shall see many things done craftily. By me conveyed is wanton insolence, privy appointments conveyed so properly. For many times much kindness is denied, for dread that we dare not oft lest we be spied. By me is conveyed mickle pretty ware, sometime I say behind the door for need. I have an hobby, can make larks to dare. I knit together many a broken thread. It is great arms the hungry to feed, to clothe the naked where is lacking a smock, trim at a tail ere a man can turn a sock. What ho, be ye merry, Was it not well conveyed, as oft ye list, so honesty be said? Alas, dear heart, look that we be not perceived. Without craft, nothing is well behaved. Though I show you courtesy, say not that I crave. Convey it craftily, and hardly spare not for me, so that there know no man but I and she. Theft also and petty bribery, without me, be full oft espied. My inwit dealing there can no man descry. Convey it by craft, lift and lay aside. Full much flattery, falsehood I hide. By crafty conveyance I will, and I can, save a strong thief, and hang a true man. Some men would convey, and cannot skill, as malapert taverners that check with their betters. Their conveyance welteth the work by all will, and some will take upon them to counterfeit letters, and therewithal convey himself into a pair of debtors. And some will convey by the pretence of sadness, till all their conveyance is turned into madness. Crafty conveyance is no child's game. By crafty conveyance many one is brought up of naught. Crafty conveyance can cloak himself from shame, for by crafty conveyance wonderful things are wrought. Conveyance crafty I have brought unto magnificence a full ungracious sort, for all hooks unhappy to me have resort.
And there we are cutting out for an interval because that it would end up being a bit too long. So yes, now we're going to wrap up this session. Well, not wrap up, but like this particular part of the play, with a few thoughts. I was too busy enjoying that scene to actually say anything like, insightful. But I don't know if there is anything insightful to say about it aside from vices are fun. This can't possibly go wrong for any of the characters involved, of course, as we full well know. Yeah, and also I was wondering, is there an actual dog on stage? Is this a dog play, or do we just like sort of like is the dog imagined? Because I think one of the stage directions was something like it comes in with playing an instrument and stuff. So yeah, discuss. Any thoughts?
And a bird of prey. It's like,
Sorry.
are there real animals on stage?
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering about that. Because
Or are they fake? I mean, like a stuffed dog and a, like a
Yeah,
toy dog and a
this bird or butterfly or whatever it is.
yeah. Is it an owl? Is it a hawk? Is it a butterfly?
Yeah.
Is it some ridiculous looking prop? Yeah.
Alan?
I think it's probably whatever you can find in the prop cupboard.
Yeah. It sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, I've got this. This will do. Left over from Panto last season.
Yeah, the audience can just use their imagination.
I must admit, I'm having great difficulty getting back into this because this is very early piece.
Yeah.
Compared with a lot of what we've been doing recently, where we've got used to this idea of plots and characters.
Yeah.
Plot? What is it?
We're suddenly back. We're suddenly back into stereotypes and vices
And allegory and yeah.
and no Nile in sight. I mean, the one blessing, we haven't had any Greeks.
Well, we've had Latin though, and we keep Latin. The fancy keeps Latin in the store just in case.
Yeah.
Which is quite a nice thought.
And there's some odd bits of French too. Yeah.
I think Rachel had something to say earlier, but I don't know if there was crosstalk.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. I should have. I was thinking lots of telling and very little showing.
Yeah, but there's a lot of that in this period, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It was kind of, we've seen a lot of interludes where this kind of thing happens. And they plot and plot and plot. So I feel like this is a lot of setup for stuff that is kind of about to happen. Aliki has thoughts on Lois and Greg.
I mean, they don't even seem to spend that much time plotting. Quite a lot of it is, I am awesome. Let me show you how awesome I am. Are you that awesome? I bet you can't joke. Yes, I can. Here's another joke. But I wish that I knew the hoke. But I've got you right in the poke. I mean, it's not really.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Lois had thought then, Greg.
Yeah. Well, it's by Skelton, who, writes in Skeltonics, short line verses with lots and lots of rhymes, lots of alliteration. I guess anybody who came to see this would be expecting this kind of thing. I mean, everybody's sort of there to, let me show you how many ways I can rhyme too. And, never mind what I'm going to do in this play, just let me talk.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, there was I think it was one of the Greg's lines or Alan's, I can't remember I can't remember which character. It's like, yes, do you have a physic? And I'm like, is that a word? Is that, it rhymes with physic? And I'm like, Daffy Duck was off that day. Alan wanted to say something, then Greg, sorry.
Yeah, I'm sure I've come across that word somewhere, but I'm damned if I could define it.
Yeah, a few things. I see. I'm back to what I probably I've spent most of my time with this group doing, which is these sort of plays. I always find it funny. I do not know where the voices come from for my characters. About 10 seconds before I'm about to speak, something just comes out, and and I think, actually, that works. Usually, that's what's scary is actually it fits the character really well. But anyway, I love the fact that I always find it fascinating that the Vices discuss changing their name or their identity, and I always find it quite funny finding out what they're going to go for. And I loved all those. It wasn't as obvious because we weren't turning cameras on and off, which we sometimes do with second looks. I loved all those speeches where it was just the character and the audience. And because they really revealed so much about each character, and you could you got not that they were well rounded afterwards, but you got a little bit more of a sense of what that character was about. Because some of these names are so not obscure, but they're quite airy fairy, and then you suddenly get that speech, especially what was my first one, Countenance. Suddenly his being made more sense because he basically told you what he did, and my God, did he have some fun with it? I mean, you could tell, and I could see him picking people out in the audience.
Yeah,
see him saying not each line to individual people maybe, but at least picking the odd person out to really concentrate on that line on that person. And yeah, I could see this as quite an intimate little show.
Lynn and Lois, sorry.
Yeah, I'm just interested in, I don't know what to make of this, but I'm really interested in the way language has shifted a little, our values have shifted a little, and you can't really tell necessarily from the names here in the 21st century whether a character is supposed to be positive or negative. I mean, we have very positive valences with liberty. That's particularly in my culture an unalloyed good. And here it's a bad thing. It implies like too much freedom, lack of discipline, prodigality. But it's not called prodigality, it's called liberty. And similarly, although maybe not quite as good an illustration as fancy, meaning imagination, we think that's a good thing. But here it's sort of mental instability or indecisiveness, or fancy is not necessarily a bad thing for us, but it's definitely it's a vice, it's a fault in this context. I mean, folly is obviously not a good thing, but their values are definitely different, and it's and it's reflected in the language.
Lois, sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't really quite work out the difference between fancy and folly in that scene. I kept trying to see whether, I was being more foolish than he was, or he was being more imaginative than I was, but, it didn't seem to me to work really. But what interests me also about this is that I'm sure that there's a lot more sort of personal and political satire than we are getting. And I was fairly sure at that bit where I was talking about somebody who was terribly stuck up and so on, and ordering people around and had risen from nothing, that might be a reference to Wolsey. I mean, it's at least possible that there is some sort of personal stuff going on.
Yeah, definitely. Well, also there were so many jokes that just went like whoosh. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I imagine it's meant to be like really played really fast as well. So it's kind of a lot of, things that are going back and forth, kind of like tennis or even table tennis, where it gets really, really fast and you can't see the ball. What was I going to say? Yeah, no, I think the thing about like liberty that Lynn mentioned is also interesting because like you get stuff like liberality and prodigality, which is a different play. You can see that on our YouTube somewhere. Yeah, I'm guessing that's the kind of angle that they're going for with liberty rather than like liberty in the sense that we know nowadays. But yeah, I'm impressed that all the vices are totally going to remember their names. I haven't read ahead, so I have no idea what's going on. But it's just I was impressed that they came in with Fancy having renamed. Well, not Fancy. Sorry, I think it was Countenance or Liberty. No, wait. I don't know. I lost track. One of the vices, anyway, had renamed himself and took it upon themselves to, sort of rename themselves off stage, which is kind of rare. Usually they go, I have a cunning plan. I will rename myself and ingratiate myself, and then the world will collapse, or something like that, that's the kind of thing that usually happens in these plays. But yeah, I don't know. It's quite an interesting little play thus far. Yeah, I feel like I'm talking a lot. Any thoughts? Any other thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, I must admit, I did find it quite interesting. The rhyme scheme changes so frequently you can't keep track of it. But in some of the dialogues in the three ways, where you get the rhyme shared across characters, someone obviously worked extremely hard to get that effect, and I think at pace it does work, because you really do get the double act working.
Yeah.
Lynn,
And the 300s are several of those, which is a little harder to stage and harder to perform. My guess is this was wildly entertaining in its own day, but a lot of the language has shifted, so we've got some vocabulary that we don't know. So so there's so many jokes I feel like we're not getting. Time is not kind to comedy, as Robert has observed. I think a lot of it has lost, but you can sort of feel it coming through in the pace and the sprightliness.
And you get stuff like, I think that the most interesting one was sort of huffa, 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 and then like you get the rhyme, what's said? It's like, that is not a rhyme, that's cheating. But but maybe
but it's
not.
Hilarious,
Yeah.
It's sort of hilarious cheating.
Yeah. Lois.
Well, I think there are probably a lot of visual effects that we're not getting too. I think courtly abusion clearly is representing all the latest foppish dress. I remember him because since I did a dissertation on fops years and years ago, I paid attention to him, and that whole speech with very short lines, beyond measure, my sleeve is wide, and so on. He's demonstrating the lack of measure, which seems to be one of the main points of this first bit. And presumably he's dancing around while he says it. It's I am so light to dance delight. It must be a real performance, more physical, I think, than maybe the other characters, though who knows? Somebody might be juggling, for example, while they do the crafty conveyance bit. There are all sorts of possibilities.
Well, also the bit with the sort of where they come in, where Folly and Fancy are having the whole like thing about the dog and the hawk, and that's quite. I feel like that's quite physical as well. And then crafty conveyance comes in. I feel like that's with the coat. It's like, oh yeah, you've got like some fleece, take it off or something, or whatever. Like lice. I don't know. What
it's a sort of, I bet I can get you to take your coat off, and then he pretends to find a louse on it. So of course he wants to get rid of the thing. Yes, not very subtle, but it worked. Yeah.
It's very clever though. I feel like it's doing a lot of clever things. And of course, Collusion there's a part of me going, Collusion speaks some form of French. But that's because, and Folly does too. But that's because he thinks that Abusion is speaking French. So there's probably going that might be a clue to the accent, or just some sort of weird, like everyone who is not from here is from France.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's also that
And-
foppery is usually from France. I mean, a fashionable dress. So.
Oh yeah, true.
I'm just wondering, in those bits where you got those strange bits of languages, whether it is actually an artifact of the printing or the OCRing process, or whether they are actually just talking gibberish in places. Either would potentially work.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this is a proper musical. You've got singing, you've got dancing, you've got sort of fancy costume. Aliki.
Yeah, I was thinking some of those speeches might as well be songs, or almost feel like songs. And there's a sense in kind of the rapid firedness of it, of the kind of verbal cleverness you get in, Gilbert and Sullivan or Sondheim, where it's joke upon joke piled so fast on top of each other and we're getting, maybe 1 in 20 of those jokes. But there is something of the musical in it. I like that idea.
It's so fast though. Anyway, yeah, and it's full of insults, of course, like as one does in musicals, because they're all PG rated. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, any other thoughts before we move on to final thoughts for this part of the play, because obviously tomorrow we're gonna have final thoughts. It's just too funny, isn't it?
I thought this was final thoughts. I was bringing out all my thoughts.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's kind of like, because tomorrow we're gonna, in the next part we're gonna have final thoughts as well. Yeah. Well, I mean, Magnificence, of course.
Well, okay, these were my semi-final thoughts.
But also Magnificence, who's the title character, doesn't get that much stage time. I just realized this.
No. Yeah,
Because, he's the straight man, isn't he, to all of the comic hijinks?
Yeah, and of course Measure is very important, and he will not, Magnificence will not stray from this at all.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, spoilers. Not really a spoiler, is it? Anyway, so yes, I suppose I should pick on people then for final thoughts. Greg, final thoughts on this part of this part?
I'd forgotten. It's funny, having read it before, I was actually, it started not flooding back as in I remembered what happened, but I remembered all the great fun with names and so on. I'm looking forward to reading the second part tomorrow, because he was just a lot of fun reading this part, and it was great fun having fun with names. It's one of the. It's nice to be back in the medieval. I've got to say, I'm a bit of I like this period.
You strange person. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, it is fun to have this, but then you have to go back to the sort of, I don't know, like with most interludes, like Nice Wanton and stuff, you get like fun is deadly. Fun puts the fun in funeral. It can kill you, right? That kind of thing. And it's like, don't do it. But yeah. Lynn, any final thoughts?
Oh, not much, except that, I bet this was funny at one point, and much of that is lost, sadly. And I see that tomorrow I'm playing Fancy again, and a character called Despair. So, yeah.
I didn't do the casting. Don't blame me.
No, I'm just saying. Oh, so we go from like liberality and liberty and fancy and fun and folly to despair. So yeah, that's a morality play for you, right?
Yeah. Lois, any final thoughts?
Yeah, one of my characters tomorrow is Poverty, so I think that also shows you where we're going. Well, I think today we've been it's a very long setup. I mean, introducing all the characters, starting out with Magnificence in a good situation, with Measure controlling both wealth and liberty, and then all these people come in and explain what they intend to do and why they're so bad, and presumably in the next scene tomorrow they will actually do it. And I have a feeling that Magnificence is going to be reduced to a pretty lousy situation. We shall see. Anyway, it's the main problem is the number of characters that he's got. I think for some reason there generally seems to be this pattern of 4 vices in a play. I think we had it in Res Publica as well. I don't know why, unless it might be to set off against things like the 4 daughters of God. What is it? Mercy, peace, truth, and justice. Or maybe there's some. I mean, there's a lot of symbolism of 3s and 4s in these plays. But it's that's part of the problem, that if he's got 4 vices, then they've all got to introduce themselves at great length, and then there's the further role of fancy and folly, and I don't quite understand why they've got to be part of this either. But anyway, no doubt all will be revealed tomorrow.
Well, also, I guess kind of it works with the doubling, because you need one person to stay as Magnificence and then everyone else to shift around them. Otherwise, it wouldn't really, sort of, I think in one of the other interludes that we did, the recommended doubling was basically the vices double with the virtues, except for a few, maybe one of them, who was the sort of main switch between. Alan, any final thoughts for this?
I mean, so far it's working at a good pace. I think it's entertaining. As has been said, there was probably a heck of a lot of it which made far more sense at the time. And I'm not sure how far it will go down with a general audience. I suspect that you probably find a lot of people who are into Tudor stuff would get the resonances, get the references, and probably greatly enjoy it, particularly if it was done, and I think probably quite elaborately staged. I suspect that there was probably quite a lot in terms of costume and props. And as Lois was saying, there is potential for singing in there as well, because a lot of the lyrics, a lot of the lines do almost read like song lyrics.
I agree.
Whether one can book a composer to do it is another matter.
Yeah, that might be hard. I mean, although you can kind of, yes. I won't discuss the lyrics turd or Moving on. Be mature. I can do this. Any final thoughts about this part, Rachel?
Well, as measure, I felt somewhat conflicted. I was, realized I was going to have to come back later on and, restore order. But I also feel like you're having a great deal of fun in my absence.
I'm so sorry. We didn't mean to have fun without you. But the rhyme was kind of, I don't know, it carries you forward, I guess, as well. You kind of don't. But by the time you get to the part that we've stopped at, you kind of don't, you've nearly forgotten about measure and liberty. And it's like there was a plot. There were these characters. Who are these people? When they come back on, it's like, oh yeah, we have to sober up now. Maybe too much alcohol. Lois, was that a hand, or did you just wave? I mean, were you waving?
No, I don't think I've got anything else to say.
Well, with that in mind, I will thank the wonderful readers for the wonderful reading. And tune in for the second part. I hope. The devil's turd for thy brain.